Well, it started when I was living in California. I was doing environmental reporting mostly for magazines and then for NPR. And while I was doing that, I started doing some stories on agriculture because there's a pretty serious connection between the environment and agriculture. And I really enjoyed the agricultural stories I was doing. I did some stories on the wine industry in California and on um, a resurging interest in making olive oil in California. Um, and I really enjoyed that. And I think food is such an interesting subject because there's nothing more fundamental than food. And it speaks to, I think, every other part of the human experience in some way or another. And so the more I did it, the more I liked it. And when I moved back to Idaho in 2001, I'm a native Idahoan and moved back after about 20 years away. I started doing more focused sort of food and agricultural stories and started this um, Boise State Radio series called Edible Idaho. And as Mary mentioned, in 2011, I got hooked up with this Year of Idaho Food Project and got the chance to travel all over the state doing stories and photographing for the Year of Idaho Food. And moving back to Idaho was kind of a shock after living in California. I didn't expect there to be as vibrant a local food movement as there was here, and I was kind of blown away by the passion and the diversity of things going on here. And it's I think there's something really special about food in Idaho, and I'm not sure exactly why, but we're kind of in a very interesting spot, I think, and that's what keeps me going and keeps me doing this stuff. Is there's an endless stream of stories, and I just love getting involved in them, and that's kind of how I got to where I am.
Oh, that's great. And we're lucky to have you too, Guy. I mean, I think that, I just want to tell you, I hear this all the time from people in Washington State and Oregon who have heard your stories when I mention your name. They say, oh, yeah, I know who he is. So you're not just an Idaho reporter, but we truly have kind of encompassed the Northwest radio scene. So we appreciate all that you've done. And now I want to go to Ed Wilsey, who is there was a photograph of him early on there that made him look like a pretty reasonable guy. I want you all to know he's not. Ed's one of the producer on the panel tonight, and a very interesting character and someone I consider to be a real dear friend and someone who I actually work with through one of my CSAs. Ed is the meat producer for our next level CSA at Morning Owl Farm. That's how we kind of got to be friends. And Ed, you've had an interesting career as a rancher. You're a multi-generational rancher from Idaho, and I wondered if you would just introduce yourself.
All right. Well, I'm just a rancher. I'm in Owyhee County now. I'm originally from Idaho County. I was up there. I moved down here when I was 40. And I just love the high desert. I like it down here. I miss the mountains, but I like it where I'm at. My wife and I have been ranchers since we got married. I mean, we started out with 3 or 4 cows, leased a little piece of ground, and just kept evolving from there. This is our 4th ranch. We bought, sold, and anyway, this is where we're at. We run 300 head of cows, a couple hundred hogs out here, and everything's free range, the cattle. We do natural grass-fed beef and pastured pork. We helped start.
You sure do.
We initiated. We decided we needed to do something different, and so we got into the natural grass-fed, and that's kind of my family's background. from years gone by, and we started using a grass-based old genetic heritage breed cattle. They're called Ruby Red Devons or Northern Devons. We got our seed stock out of New Zealand, and that's what the base of our cow herd is. The hogs, we just got pigs. They're China spots and Berkshire cross and China spot and large black cross. So they do pretty good out here.
Are you guys getting any little piglets right now, Ed?
I think we're having our first litter tonight.
Tonight?
We got about, yeah, tonight. We got about 20 cows ready to pig.
Okay.
Cows are all calving right now. We're, oh, I don't know. We're just kind of getting a start. We must have 25 or 30 calves now. And kind of that time of year.
Yes, it is. So thanks a lot for taking time to be with us. I want to tell our participants tonight, feel free to ask questions, type them in. Melissa will help us to moderate that. We're really interested in having you guys have, as much as we can interact through typing your questions answered by these panelists. So anything that they have to say that sparks any interest in you, please let us know, and we'll try to make sure we get to all of your questions as best we can, and anything that we can't take care of tonight, we'll try to deal with on the forum. All of the panelists have said they would be willing to have questions forwarded to them, and they'll answer those, and we'll post them back up. But don't feel shy tonight. Feel free to jump in. I'm going to go back through the panel at this point and start off with Lisa. And part of what we're trying to do, and what I let the panel know that we're trying to do, is to help you all as participants be better at what you do, and to have less risk as you enter into new markets. And I know from your questionnaires that we've given you and that we've looked at that some of you are already in farmers markets, and some of you are considering going into farmers markets or even starting roadside stands, and that kind of working into that kind of venue, that sort of direct market through a marketplace of some type. And Lisa, working for Capital City Public Market, knowing how respected she is among the producer community, I really wanted her to offer some insights about what producers should know as they enter into a farmer's market, what kinds of things they can do to prepare themselves to be successful at it, and what they should expect when they go into a farmer's market. How might that be a unique and different kind of experience than they might have in other venues? So Lisa, do you mind tackling that a little bit, talking about some of the best practices, if you will?
Yep, that's great. I think a farmer's market is really a really unique way to get your product to consumers. It really is the only way that you are selling directly to that customer, as opposed to going to where Matt is in a retail setting where you sell to the co-op and then the customer buys it there. A farmer's market is really different because not only are you there selling your produce, but you're really selling yourself, if you will, not in the wrong way. But it's really all about customer service and telling people what you do for a living. As far as preparing for a farmer's market, there's lots that producers need to think about before they start. A lot of what the need is there for the customers. So thinking about what that different product might be that you could sell that no one else is growing, or thinking about a different way or different varieties of different things to sell. Another thing would be the actual cost of entering into a market. Some markets, there's a low cost just to start. Others, it's higher. I know at our market, there's certain requirements with canopies, insurance. Some people let you just show up and sell out of your truck. So just kind of seeing what level of a market that you're ready to start at. The other thing too that I know a lot of people go back and forth with is how far they're willing to drive to a market. So trying to think about what your costs are going into selling at a